What's your favorite memory out of this man cave? Do you have one? If I said you got to sit down.
Mine's not even close. I didn't have to think about it for a second.
Okay.
When Will Ferrell is in here as Ron Burgundy for 2 hours, but the moment he was walking out of the building and a crowd had gathered around the building because social media said Will Ferrell, Ron Burgundy is in Milford, Connecticut. And there's about 800 or 900 people outside, about a dozen cops to try to get him out. And there's 2 news crews from the local news departments.
Yeah.
And as Will's walking out, he is such a genius showman. He turns towards us and says, "Get a camera and shoot it. Get a camera and shoot me leaving." And he walks outside, and there's a big SUV. They had to take him down to David Letterman. Remember he was doing Letterman that night? He jumps on, like, the hood of the SUV in his big, clunky black shoes. He's like, "People of Milford, Connecticut, I've been to a lot of towns in this country, and Milford is one of them." And then he goes, "Hit it." And he jumped and spun the tires, and they got out of there. I was like, I don't know if it's going to beat that anytime soon.
It was boy band. If you said One Direction was coming out of this building, it wouldn't have been larger than what happened when Ron Burgundy was in here. Forever indebted to Will Ferrell for doing that. Because he said, "Look, I want to come in, and I want to go buy some beer and donuts, and I want to stand outside." He stood outside as Ron Burgundy on the streets of Milford, Connecticut, this small little blue-collar town, and he's out there, and no one stopped because they're thinking, well, that can't be Ron Burgundy. What would he be doing here?
He stayed at this little local hotel. He could have stayed in New York City and drove up. He stayed at this little local hotel. He went to a liquor store at 8 in the morning and got them to open up to get a 40-ouncer.
I know. He wanted some Old English, I think, malt liquor. Yeah, Fritzy.
And then Senator McCain was supposed to join us in our New York City studios, but something came up in his schedule, and he kept his word. Not only did he still do the show in studio, he came here to the Milford Man Cave, and I thought that was amazing seeing him walk through the door.
Yeah, he flew into Hartford so he could drive down to come into our studio because he wanted to make it up to us. He was sick when we were going to have him in New York City, and he was a big sports fan. He loved talking football, Arizona sports, boxing, and to have him come in and, I said, "Hey, I got some DP show gear for you." And he said, "Well, I can't accept it. You have to let me know how much it cost." And I sent him all this Dan Patrick Show gear, and he sent me a check. I still have the check. I'll never cash it. But, he was true to his word where he said, "Look, he sent me a check, I think, for $250. And it was, Senator John McCain. And now that was another one of those great moments. McLovin, what about you? Favorite moment?
So I'm going to go personal and make it all about me. But it's particularly this man cave when former Xavier center Matt Stainbrook, you made challenge him. It's like, "I'm going to give McLovin 5 shots to score on you." And you know how small this court is.
Yes.
So Matt Stainbrook's 6'11". He can basically touch the ceiling. There's no way I was going to get a shot around him. But I think he sort of got a little cocky. And we know this man cave so well that I was able to sneak one around him.
You scored on him.
I love when the basketball players come in here because it's just not big enough here to play real basketball. So we have such a home court. Will we have the same home court advantage in the new place?
No.
It's going to be a little bigger?
Yes.
Is that good or bad for us? Because we've mastered the confines of this man cave.
I know. Anytime somebody comes in here and shoots, they always hit the ceiling.
Seton is about 88% from 9 feet away on the right side.
Yes, he is. He's locked in. Seton, you got a favorite moment?
I was going to say Odorous when Odorous came in because that was probably the most nervous I've ever seen the group collectively. So Odorous is the lead singer of this band Guar. And I
had no idea about Guar. I just knew they were going to be in New Haven. And then somebody floated the idea of, Odorous is a huge sports fan. I think Seton said, "Hey, I'm going to go see the show." He's a big sports fan, man. He loves the Washington Redskins. And I said, "All right." And then he came in, and then I went, boy, how many ways could this go wrong?
He tried to clean it up for us, in terms of his dress and his garb. Like, he wears these big spikes, and he's like this alien type character, this heavy metal alien, but he still had his rear end was still hanging out. I just remember Paul going, "Shoot from the waist up, shoot from the waist up."
He had this G-string with spikes on it.
And the smells.
Oh, that had never been washed. No.
And then, you think of all the things that came off of that, too, like when we started doing Wheel of Punishment, and then there was just all of these things that were sort of wrapped up in the Odorous part that was pretty great.
Well, he gave us the Wheel of Punishment song, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he also gave us the headgear that he wears. So when the hotline rings, the mask that we have on the wall over by Fritzy, the lights will light up. And I think there was only 2 that's ever been made, and that's one of them. And he sent it to us, and we put it up there as when the hotline rings, the lights light up. Yeah, Paul.
Another quick personal favorite. You remember the flinchball era, 2014, 2016. We had Bob Costas in studio, and we were playing flinchball with one of the great sportscasters in history, doing live on the play-by-play. Bob's like, that groin area is a target for McLovin, and he's doing it as deadpan Bob Costas.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
You know what? I think of a lot of great laughs that we've had here too, and I'll always think of Against the Grain and all of the production that would go into it, and how it would always sort of spectacularly fail, like the helmets falling all over the place. Like, those are some of the greatest laughs I think I've ever had. I mean, Andrew, I hope that you sort of share in those laughs.
Yeah.
But
I love the lo-fi nature, like
so
especially
good.
in the, when we first moved in, there was a lot of lo-fi stuff going on around here. It didn't really look this full.
But you would get so excited when you do Against the Grain, this big presentation.
Yeah.
And it was like, a sixth grader doing a science project.
Like a diorama.
And it would always fail miserably.
Yes.
Stuff would break, fall apart. But McLovin, gave us against. There are a lot of great, funny moments, though. The shower of shames that we've had in here, the different people who've been in here. So the countdown starts next Wednesday. Will be our last show in here, and we'll have some of the memories for those of you watching on TV. We'll take a trip down memory lane with a lot of this.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.